For over a decade, AI research has been guided by scaling laws. The premise is simple. By increasing the compute power provided to a model, its general cognitive capabilities increase on a predictable compounding curve. We are now seeing an explosion in raw intelligence produced solely by adding more hardware. If these laws hold for even 2 more years, we will reach the threshold of powerful AI. Practically, this means a single data center could house the intellectual equivalent of 100 million highly capable virtual minds. This cognitive capacity is already being applied to specialized fields. They generate novel drug candidates, solve complex mathematics, and execute high-level financial analysis with increasing speed and precision. We must reclassify how we view this technology. AI is an independent, compounding strategic entity with the intellectual force of a nation-state. This illustrates the core friction in modern governance. AI capabilities are compounding exponentially, while legislative frameworks and government institutions iterate at a slow, linear pace. This mismatch has historically forced safety advocates into a reactive posture. Because early models appeared to be mundane software, policymakers adopted a hands-off approach, relying on voluntary corporate transparency rather than hard limits. In 2026, the Claude Mythos preview demonstrated that frontier models could autonomously identify and exploit vulnerabilities in software managing financial networks and critical infrastructure. Relying on voluntary corporate transparency is no longer a viable strategy. To survive the exponential curve, we must now re-engineer the capabilities of the democratic state. Early efforts to govern AI, such as California's SB 53, focused strictly on disclosure. These laws required developers to report their safety procedures, but they stopped short of setting behavioral boundaries on the models themselves. Legislators were facing the Calling Ridge dilemma. The fact that passing strict laws before a technology's risks are known often results in pointless bureaucracy that misses the eventual real-world threats. Today, those risks are now clearly documented. A frontier AI model must be regulated with the same rigor we apply to commercial aviation or weaponizable nuclear material. This requires a mandatory physical checkpoint administered by a government agency, similar to the FAA. Any AI model crossing a specific compute threshold must pass third-party auditing across 4 specific threat factors: cybersecurity, biological weapons generation, system autonomy, and automated self-improvement. This agency must have the authority to block deployment of any model failing these standards. Corporate self-regulation cannot manage catastrophic capabilities. State power must step in to physically gatekeep these models before they reach the public. AI acts as a general substitute for human cognitive labor. It goes beyond increasing individual productivity by replacing the need for human input in specific tasks. Historically, workers adapted to automation by retraining for new industries. The velocity of AI advancement will likely outpace the human ability to retrain, leading to enduring labor displacement across multiple sectors. This breaks traditional economic assumptions. We are entering a scenario where the economy is locked into a state of hyper-growth and hyper-inequality, completely detached from human labor participation. In the short term, governments will need aggressive policy buffers. This includes wage insurance to compensate workers taking lower-paying jobs and tax incentives for companies that retain their workforce during the transition. Long-term stability requires structural wealth redistribution, such as universal basic income and universal capital accounts. These programs would be funded by capturing the immense productivity gains generated by AI companies. The primary economic mission of the state must shift. Instead of solely incentivizing job creation, the government must structurally distribute wealth in a post-labor economy. This creates a policy paradox. While we must strictly regulate the creation of core AI models, we simultaneously need to deregulate the scientific agencies downstream that utilize them. The current drug approval process takes 7 to 8 years. When AI generates thousands of highly effective drug candidates, this narrow regulatory pipeline will instantly jam. To prevent this, agencies must replace slow physical trials with high-speed AI simulations, establishing standards for these new methods before the wave of discoveries arrives. Regulatory bodies must prepare to accept synthetic control arms, AI-driven toxicology predictions, and AI-based pharmacodynamics modeling in place of traditional multi-year experiments. Failing to upgrade these agencies means society will bear the structural risks of AI while remaining bureaucratically blocked from receiving its life-saving scientific benefits. There is also a severe internal threat. The massive advantages provided by superior intelligence make powerful AI a potent tool for autocratic repression and the consolidation of state power. AI can bypass existing constitutional oversight through the data broker loophole. By purchasing and analyzing bulk civilian data at scale, the government could create a surveillance apparatus that operates entirely outside traditional privacy protections. The military applications are even more acute. Fully autonomous weapons could be programmed to execute unlawful domestic orders, removing the human hesitation that currently serves as a check on illegal directives. We must mandate hard-coded constitutional accountability mechanisms for any autonomous system and enact a complete ban on their use in domestic law enforcement. Without an immediate modernization of our constitutional architecture, the raw technological power of AI will systematically dismantle democratic liberty. On a global scale, the stakes are absolute. An adversary with a 3-year lead in powerful AI holds an insurmountable strategic advantage. It is the equivalent of World War II Marines fighting an army of medieval swordsmen. AI is a zero-sum strategic weapon. Its capacity to reshape the global balance of power dwarfs the impact of previous software standards or consumer applications. The solution is the formation of a strict, exclusionary coalition of democracies. This alliance must be unified around shared safety standards, civil liberty protections, and economic coordination. Maintaining this strict coalition requires hard power mechanics. Allied democracies must aggressively lock down the global supply chain, controlling the distribution of frontier chips and the equipment required to manufacture them. The coalition would freely share AI compute and medical advancements internally, while utilizing export controls to starve autocratic regimes of the necessary hardware. International trade policy must be entirely subordinated to one goal: maintaining uncompromised democratic supremacy over the AI Exponential. Current public anxiety reflects an accurate democratic assessment of documented risks. Industry leaders often describe this as a failure of public relations, yet the concern stems from the legitimate threat of structural displacement. This requires a synchronized machine. The FAA-style safety checkpoints, the UBI buffers, the widened scientific pipelines, the constitutional locks, and the hardened global supply chain must function entirely in unison. We are operating in a uniquely brief window. For the first time, policymakers and the public are awake to the realities of intelligence scaling, but we must act before the curve goes completely vertical. By abandoning outdated regulatory assumptions and re-architecting the state today, we can contain the algorithmic threat and secure a post-scarcity era of unimaginable abundance.